Well, there's been confirmation now that over 160 guns have disappeared from the Norwood police station in Johannesburg. Now, imagine what happens with these guns. In a society where we already have too many guns on the streets, too many crimes involving guns. Peter Nsima is the acting Deputy General Secretary for the South African Police Union. Peter, good afternoon to you, and thanks for coming in. I do appreciate it. I notice it's a SAFTO T-shirt today.
Yeah, you got it, yes. No, thank you very much for him, Stephen.
I think the SACP trademarked that red, but you'll have to speak to them.
Yeah.
How important is this? I mean, when we see a situation where guns are being stolen, so many guns stolen from one police station, how do you react to that?
Well, it's disturbing. It's concerning. It is a concern for us, particularly as a union, particularly for those who represent members of the police. Almost 157 members of the police are killed on a yearly basis. You must remember that even on the very same investigation, we found out that one of these guns was involved in the murder of one of our own. A police officer was killed. So we are worried about that report. We are concerned about it. We have engaged management on this issue to say it cannot be correct. But the problem here is a system in place in the police. It's not just a firearm that was stolen just on a day. And what we did as the South African Policing Union, we look into the processes that are there in the police in terms of the safekeeping of this firearm of members and firearm that are being given to the police for safekeeping or for disposal.
Well, so this is the point. I mean, the guns have gone missing because of the actions of police officers, right? I mean, only police officers would have access to these guns.
Yep.
And then, so because of the actions of police officers, other police officers are probably going to die.
It's a concern for us. But let's start first, Stephen. How did a firearm got into the police station? It's because police officers arrested the suspect. It's because police officers took this firearm to the police station. So it's action of one or two individuals that either negligence or either by, you know, what you call the intention of criminality that you see that firearms are stolen. So we are saying to the management of the police, those who are responsible for this, they must be taken into account. The police must be accountable for this firearm that have been stolen. Fact of the matter is, there is a problem in the system of the police. If you look into the policies that are there, when you take a firearm to the police station, you put the firearm in what you call SAP-13, there are processes. You are able to track this firearm from the police station, who handed it to the ballistic, for ballistic analysis, coming back to the police station, to the court. So the police are able to follow this up. If they do thorough investigation on this matter, those who are responsible can be arrested. And you just want to make an example with one. Police officers will be able to deal with or to keep this firearm. The challenge is where there is no manpower. And you find that one person is employed in the SAP-13 store. When that person is there for a week or for a day, the key must be left. So that is where you get a disconnection, where people who are responsible for this will say, but I was not here the whole time, and this key was not with me all the time. So that is where the challenge is with regard to the manpower in the police.
I mean, what should happen, if the system works, you should need at least 2 people, maybe 3 or 4 people, to actually get a gun out.
Exactly.
Unless the system is broken.
Quite a lot of people that are there. There was a time where there was a unit that specialized with this firearm. Remember some of these firearms that are involved in the commission of crime. When this firearm is at a police station, you need to have those who can inspect this firearm to check whether this firearm were used in the commission of crime. Like, for example, Stephen, the vehicles. If I stop you as a normal police officer, sometimes it's difficult to know whether this car is stolen or not. But you've got a unit that deals with these cars that can tell you that this car is suspected to have been stolen. With firearm is a challenge. If I give you give me a firearm and I look into the license and they correspond, I will assume that this firearm is yours, only to find out it's been tampered with, the numbers that are there. So you must have the unit that deal with this kind of firearm so that they follow up the firearm. 158 firearms that has been stolen. How many of those firearms committed murder? If one of these firearms committed murder, that means you are not going to be able to take 158 suspects to the court, because we are losing evidence with regard to this. It's a very concerning to us as South African Policing Union.
This happened in the Norwood police station in Joburg. Is it happening in other police stations too?
It does. When you do audit and you hear that firearms has been stolen, remember, to us it's not about 158 firearms. It's about, even if it's one firearm that is missing in the police station, we do get those reports. We say the firearm is missing, we cannot account to that firearm. So it's not only about one police station. This was as a result of the audit when one member of the police was killed and this firearm was was linked to the Norwood firearm that was kept at Norwood.
There's so many tragedies upon tragedies here, because you have, the gun is taken either because someone hands it in, which does happen, or because it was actually involved in a crime and was found as evidence. So it gets taken. So already this is a gun that's the subject of a tragedy. Then it gets stolen. It being stolen from a police station is a tragedy. It can then be used to commit more crimes. It makes life more dangerous for police officers on the streets, and yet it's police officers who may well be implicated. I mean, this is an incredible thing. This is the kind of thing that it should be easy to manage a system. There must be many countries around the world that have a system of in police stations where they're able to make sure that the guns that are in police stations are properly tracked. I mean, who do you blame for the failure of this? Is it the National Police Commissioner himself? No one likes him, by the way, it seems.
No, not really. You need to blame a person for what he did, not what we suspect that he did. Sure. Look, the challenge here is the system that are in place. And when you deal with the system, let's first look into the police environment. Do we have enough police officers in the country? The answer is no. Why are we not employing police officers? The government must be responsible for that. And that question is not being asked to either those in charge of the government. Secondly, that does not take away the responsibility of each and every police officer in the police station. Even if they're supposed to be two, there are systems that are in place in terms of firearms that are kept at the police station. We acknowledge the fact that there is a challenge with regard to manpower in police station. But we cannot condone that one of our own members is involved in crime, because the minute you take the firearm, either by negligence or intentionally so, you are committing a crime, because already this firearm have been brought to the police station as a result of investigation. So yes, it's a tragedy over the other. We are concerned as a member of South African Police Union because our own members have been killed by the very same firearm. The crime in this country, we all know, Stephen, there is a serious crime, particularly murder and conduct crime in this country. So those firearms are going to commit crime. And a lot of people, what is happening? I saw this morning when I checked your news, 5 people have been killed. That part of investigation, who are the people who are involved in this investigation? Our own members, who are at risk, our own members, and who are on the end receiving of the whole investigation, our own members of the police.
Do you have any hope that we're actually going to find out what happened to these guns? I don't know if I do. And I've got to tell you, I kind of want to start by going to the Norwood police station and firing every single officer. I know you can't do that. I know that would be irrational, but that's what the emotional side of me wants to do.
Look, one thing for sure is I'm a member of the police. Any investigation that must be conducted, the hope is that the suspect will be arrested. The only thing is that the management of the police need to give the support, not only to those who will do the investigation, but also to look at the weaknesses in the system. Of course, this firearm can be found. The management of the police need to have a specialist unit. We have called, as the South African Police Union, Stephen, about the murder and robbery squad. Those who specialize in this kind of crimes, your murders, your robberies. If you had that unit by now, this firearm will have been in the police storage room now. But you don't have those people. Now you're going to have a special task team that have a lot of doggers on hand and have to look for 158 firearms. Later on, they have to go and look for the suspect that killed people in Lorado Park. So you are still having your challenges, but I have a hope, I must say.
Peter Nsima, thanks very much indeed. Acting Deputy General Secretary in the SA Policing Union. I do appreciate the time. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. Such an important issue. I mean, how it is that guns go missing, from a police station.